Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, it was a busy day on Saturday. It was a mixed results. Of course, you did not get the win at the top, the one you always want with Los Angeles, as they dropped their second game in the series to the St. Louis Cardinals. At the AAA level, Oklahoma City lost as well. Tulsa, they won their game, and then Great Lakes lost, and Rancho Cucamonga finished the night off with an exciting 5-3 win. Matter of fact, probably the best action. Well, there was some good action in the Oklahoma City game, although they lost as well, but probably the most exciting action was some of the play that we're going to get into from Rancho. Raynedoncon hit a home run. Liranzo had a really good night. We're going to get to see him throw a runner out, and chrisnewell had 2 home runs, both to the opposite field. So that was an exciting game. Then madisonjeffrey was really good. Peyton Martin started on the mound. lucaswepf pitched, and christianromero. So it was a good night last night for Rancho Cucamonga. We're going to talk all about them. But hey, before we dive into today's show, just a reminder, we do now have the ability to donate to Dodgers Daily. We have a GoFundMe account. Scroll down the description. We have the link to that GoFundMe account, the Dodgers Daily GoFundMe account in the description. Just click that and it'll take you right to the GoFundMe Dodgers Daily account. Also, if you'd like, we have a new Patreon account. Go to Patreon, search Dodgers Daily, become a Patreon member. We have different tiers if you'd like to help Dodgers Daily. Also, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, share this video, and then become a subscriber. And after you subscribe, click that notification bell. Make sure and turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll be notified and you'll never miss a thing. Okay, it was a crazy game last night. jdmartinez tied the game up. Gorman gave the Cardinals the lead for good last night. The Dodgers, they scratched and they clawed back. Couldn't make it all the way back, and then you had the very controversial strike 3 call on mookiebetts. So a lot to get into. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it, and let's talk Dodgers baseball. So the Dodgers tried to steal one last night on the road to go up 2-1 in the series against St. Louis. Instead, they got one stolen from them, point blank. I don't think there's any way you can put it any other way other than the fact that the last pitch of the game was not a strike to mookiebetts. But let me ask you this question. You know, in baseball, you have strike zones that all you ask of the home plate umpire is for them to be consistent. Even if it's not necessarily good that night, if you at least know what they're going to call, you can live with it. I'm not saying that's good, but at least you can adjust and make your adjustments based on what you know, what pitches you know will be called and what won't. Okay, so the strike zone, we saw one earlier on willsmith, had been wide all night long. That was not a strike to mookiebetts. We all know that. But my question for you, knowing that the strike zone had been wide all night long and knowing that the game was on the line, should mookiebetts have went ahead and protected himself anyways? Should he went ahead and swung at that pitch and tried to foul it off and tried to, live to see another day, if you will, instead of leaving the game in an umpire's hands who had already called a couple of pitches at least outside and shown that he at least will call pitches off the plate outside a strike? Should he have left that game in the hands? Should he have gone ahead and protected himself, or do you not blame mookiebetts at all for not swinging at that because it was egregiously not a strike? Okay, so that's the first question of the day. Do you think mookiebetts should have at least, although it was not a strike, do you think he should have protected himself on that swing? So that was disappointing, a very disappointing way to end that game. And then the Oklahoma City Dodgers, AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers, they had a run that they scored in the 11th inning. Ryan Ward got around a tag. I still don't think the catcher tagged. If you want to check for yourself, I have it on my social media platforms. I don't think he got tagged. He got called out, and then that was the deciding run of that game as well. So it was a little bit frustrating at the top 2 levels. So go ahead and answer that question, mookiebetts. I wanted to ask that right off the bat. Okay, the Dodgers now, they're 29-18, still in first place. I think, again, as Dodgers fans, you have to be very happy with where they're at, considering all the moving parts. Julio Urias is down now, and noahsyndergaard's taking time out. Dustin May, we have his situation as well. So where the Dodgers are at right now, I think you have to be happy with the 29-18, 2.5 games in first place in the National League West ahead of Arizona. And how would you like to be the Padres right now? They're 8 back of the Dodgers. Of course, San Francisco's in second place, 7 back. But how would you like to be the Padres with all these long, big-time contracts that you sign? You know, when the bills come due, it's going to be ugly for them to begin with. You know, whenever you have to start paying all these long-term big contracts, well, not start paying, but whenever they actually start becoming, and in a net negative for the organization. Okay, and so what you do whenever you sign those kind of contracts, you hope that it gives you a big window of world championships at the beginning. You're kind of making a deal with the devil there. Well, how would you like to not even get the front end of that and be 8 games back, and then knowing that the back end of it is going to be worse than the front end? That would be, the Dodgers are on the exact opposite end of that. They don't have, other than Mookie Betts, they really don't have any of those contracts that you really feel like there's a chance that, as a player gets a little bit older, maybe there's 4 or 5 years on the back of that to where you're overpaying for that contract. And I'm not saying the Mookie Betts contract will be that way, but his is really the only one that I could think of that is so long. That the Dodgers, that might end up being in that situation, okay? And like I said, I don't think that's going to happen. So the Dodgers are in the opposite situation in the sense that they have, all this flexibility from year to year because they sign guys like jdmartinez to one. Of course, whenever a situation like Freddie Freeman falls in your lap, you have to take it. But, they sign guys like jdmartinez to 1-year deals. Miguel Rojas, obviously, Noah Syndergaard. Last year you had Andrew Heaney, and Tyler Anderson and guys like that. So the Dodgers love that flexibility from year to year. They don't like to pinhole themselves into those long-term contracts, which is why I always say the trade market makes more sense for the Dodgers because you can go out and get those big names, the guys that can get you over the top, the Max Scherzers, the Trey Turners, and you can get them in a situation to where you don't have them on 10-year contracts to where they might be underperforming their pay for the last 4 to 5 years, which if you have 5 or 6 of those guys on your roster, doesn't matter how much money you have, that's going to make it very difficult to compete. So the Dodgers have done a good job creating flexibility and then also staying in first place 2.5 games. So got to give the front office a ton of credit for building that type of roster to where you can have all that flexibility. You can continue to go out and fill your needs, still have a 2.5 game lead. Then I think you have to give Dave Roberts a ton of credit for taking all these moving parts, including the rookies, including the injuries, including the new guys, and getting the Dodgers in first place by 2.5 games. So again, I think as Dodgers fans, you have to be very happy about that. Seems unbelievable, but the season is over, a quarter of the way done. Seems like just yesterday we got started. It seems like we're still just getting started. And I think that is because as a Dodgers fan, it just doesn't feel like we've settled into a daily routine because there's been so many changes. There's been so many injuries. There's been, so many guys come up, come down, or, so many different lineups. It just seems like the Dodgers still, even though they're 2.5 games in first place, it doesn't seem like they're settled in on the season. It doesn't seem like the season has hit that groove yet. And yet here we are, more than a quarter of the season is over. So that kind of struck me last night when I heard that. I was like, wow, that's kind of unbelievable. It seems like it's flying by, and it seems like I said, the Dodgers still have not totally settled into, maybe all of their rotations and all their lineup. Of course, that's because, again, of all of the injuries. Okay, last night, I got to say with the game, hey, just give the Cardinals credit. Hey, they are playing a lot better. When I've talked in the last couple of my podcasts going into, the Cardinals and sweeping them, obviously, those were very ignorant statements on my part because the Cardinals, man, they are playing really, really, really good last night. And I must say, I don't follow the Cardinals and other teams like I follow the Dodgers. I have, all the minor league affiliates for the Dodgers, and then I also have the big Dodgers to cover. So a lot of times where my weaknesses is really, covering all the other teams in the major league. So I must say, hey, I was very ignorant when I made those statements about, hey, let's go into St. Louis and let's sweep them, that kind of thing. That obviously was very unrealistic because, like I said, the Cardinals are playing very well last night. So my takeaways from last night's game, as far as, the win and loss of it, the Dodgers losing, hey, just tip your hat to the Cardinals, man. They're playing good. You know, the Dodgers, in my opinion, they scratched and they clawed. They hit the home run, JD did, to tie the game. Then in the ninth inning, you know, they have runners on first and second, nobody out, just down 1 run, and, you know, couldn't get that last run in or the last 2 runs in to take the lead. And sometimes that happens. You know, offensive baseball is tough, and making comebacks at the major league level is very difficult. If you look at teams' records, when they just score first, you know, just scoring first, it's amazing how much better teams are in the major leagues than when the other team scores first. Now, multiply that as far as taking leads into the 8th and 9th innings, you know, so coming back, making comebacks at the major league level is very difficult. It's not something you want to try to make a living at. The Dodgers came back once. They almost came back twice, and it looked like almost a certainty there when James Outman came up in the pinch hit situation with no outs that they were going to do it again. Came up 1 run short. One of those games, yes, it's frustrating. Yes, you're very competitive. Yes, you want to win every game. But at the same time, you know, hey, as a Dodgers fan, you got to be proud of the effort, man. Lots of grit, you know, just lots of just wouldn't give upness, you know, that kind of thing last night. And very proud to watch the game, the way that the guys just kind of kept fighting and they kept coming back, and you kept believing, hey, they're finally going to get over the hump here. They're going to win this game. So although you're disappointed you didn't win, I think you have to be very pleased with the grit that this Dodgers team showed last night, and then frustrated by the way it ended, again, with the Mookie Betts deal, where that pitch clearly was not a strike, you know, and it was disappointing. For again, a Major League Baseball game should not end on that. I've watched the minor leagues all year, and what AAA has on the weekends is the system that I think is perfect. Each team gets, at the minor leagues over the weekends, okay, the home plate umpire is calling the balls and strikes, but both teams get a challenge, get 3 challenges, okay? And the thing about the challenges is they can't come from the bench. They have to come from a player on the field. You know, if it's a ball strike call, as far as the defense, then it has to come from either the catcher or the pitcher, and it has to come right away. If it's a ball or strike, as far as the hitter not thinking, you know, if he got a strike called on him that he thinks is a ball, it has to come from him. So it has to come from the field, and it has to come very quickly. There can be no delay to it. Okay, so you know, what happens is somebody, either a catcher, pitcher, or a hitter, they challenge a pitch. Like I said, it can't come from the manager, and then they go to, you know, their balls and strike system, their automated balls and strike system in the stadium. They actually put it up on the board. Everybody gets to see it, and then you get to see whether the home plate umpire was right or wrong. And last night, Oklahoma City, they actually could have challenged that last play at home plate, but they were out of challenges because they had already used all 3 of them, so they couldn't challenge anymore. Okay, if you get 3, if you have 3, you have 3 challenges, and if you challenge a play and you're right, you get that challenge back. If you're wrong, then you lose it. So Oklahoma City, they had lost all their challenges. They could not challenge that last play with Wardo at home plate, and because of that, the out call stayed. So I love that system. I think that's a system eventually the Major League Baseball will adopt, and I think fans will love it. It went really, really fast. You know, after the challenge has to come immediately, and then you go immediately to the ABS system. The home plate umpire really doesn't have to go anywhere. You just put it up on the board, and everybody can see it, and then it's either reversed or it's upheld. And it goes really, really fast, and it works. So last night, what would have happened if you had the AAA system? Mookie Betts would have obviously challenged that call. If the Dodgers would have had any challenges left, he would have been right, and he would have continued to get to hit, which is only fair. So I think they need to go to that challenge system. I don't believe that home plate. I don't think you should automate the strike zone behind home plate. I've said it's just kind of too wonky at times. I think that you need humans behind the plate calling balls and strikes to keep it flowing, and then I think you need the challenge system, and I think Major League Baseball needs to go to it this year. I think they need to do it maybe after the All-Star break, sooner rather than later, because I think it is a tremendous system. I've seen it in action many different times, and it absolutely works. Okay, the Dodgers more two-out runs last night, 106, and that leads the league. So offensively, still doing a very good job. JD Martinez home run came with 2 outs yesterday. Okay, so when you're behind, especially by multiple runs like the Dodgers got down twice yesterday, the goal for the offensive team, hey, let's just get the tying run to home plate. We saw that with JD Martinez because your goal is to get the tying run to home plate because that is the first time that you actually have a chance with one swing to tie the game. The Dodgers did that both times they got behind last night. So again, although the Dodgers didn't win, very gritty performance. As far as making a comeback, you hit all the benchmarks that allow you to actually do it, but again, came up just short. And again, Gorman, he hits the home run. Give him credit, man. This dude has been hot. The whole Cardinals team has been hot. Gorman's on an 11-game hit streak, okay, and he hit well again last night. So there are times in the game to where you just got to look at your opponent, especially a sold-out Busch Stadium. I've been there, and that is, I'm just telling you, man, Busch Stadium in St. Louis, there is no better environment for baseball in the world than Busch Stadium in St. Louis. It is awesome. The organ they play that gets the fans all excited, the in-between pitches chants, and the way that the knowledge of their fan base of not only just the game, but their players, and the knowledge of the other team's players, and the respect they show for the game, for the other teams, for their players. St. Louis, man, I'm telling you, it is a first-class environment. It is a first-class home field advantage, especially on a Saturday night. So it was just from a baseball perspective, just the game of baseball, it was a wonderful spectacle. You had two ridiculously, famous teams, two of the most marketable teams in the major leagues, two of the franchises that have the most prestigious histories. It was Saturday night, downtown St. Louis, one of the most wonderful venues in baseball, a sold-out crowd, and it was just a tremendous baseball game. So from a baseball perspective, if you remove your Dodgers hat, it was awesome to watch, in my opinion. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And, other than the fact, like I said, the Dodgers did not win, but I did enjoy a lot of the aspects of what the Dodgers did do last night, although they did not win. Okay, so the pitching. Julio Urias, he is out. Dustin May is out. Noah Syndergaard cut his finger, so we'll see there. The Dodgers picked up Ken Giles on a minor league contract, okay, and the thing about him is that he's had success at the major league level. Hasn't thrown a whole lot since about 2019. What he did, very smart, okay, he went to the Driveline facility in Seattle, and he started working out for different teams there. The Dodgers are huge on Driveline. Matter of fact, Rob Hill, the minor league pitching instructor, he was hired away from Driveline. So the Dodgers love that it's, it started out a pitching system, moving into offense. Driveline is big time. They use all the data, they use all the analytics, and hey, the proof is in the pudding. They'll take a guy, they'll add 4, 5, 6 mile an hour velo. They'll get him in the strike zone. They'll show him all the horizontal movement, the vertical movement. They'll get the movement on their pitches. So Driveline is legit. It is just awesome. Okay, so Giles went to the Driveline facility in Seattle. All right, and then he got seen by all these different teams. So the Dodgers liked what they saw enough to pull the trigger right now to, hey, maybe he's an option. We talk about, are you going to bring up Gavin Stone? Michael Groves on the taxi squad. Wander Suero was on the taxi squad, just got put on the 26-man. Tyler Sear just got brought back up. Hey, if you go to my social medias, just watch Tyler Sear in some of his last performances. He's been pretty nasty. That did not surprise me that he got pulled up because it's not necessarily, the results. If you're a Dodgers front office guy and you've watched Tyler Sear's last couple of performances and you've seen the life on all of his pitches, hey, that's impressive. So Tyler Sear has been impressive as of late. That moving him up didn't surprise me. The thing about the taxi squad is you can only be on that taxi squad for 3 days. After being on the taxi squad for 3 days, the club either has to put you on the 26-man or send you back down to the minor leagues. So I'm going to be curious to see what the club does with Michael Grove. They put Wander Suero on the 26-man, so Suero and Sear are there. So now I think you have a couple more decisions. Do you go Gavin Stone, or do you bring Ken Giles immediately into the major league fold? It'll be interesting to see what the Dodgers do there. Okay, and also the Dodgers need, some more help as far as hitting left-handers. Jonny DeLuca has been playing very well at the AAA level. He just got promoted to AAA. Andy Paez, unfortunately, in his first outing in AAA, went down. He's on the IL right now, so he's not an option. So, it'll be interesting to see where the Dodgers go there as far as hitting left-handed pitching. Okay, so the scoring last night, Mookie Betts had a single, Freddie Freeman had a single, J.D. Martinez hit the home run. Then obviously in the ninth inning, you had the rally that came up just short. So I thought last night, again, was a very good game. Okay, stolen bases. The Cardinals did have a stolen base to where the Dodgers didn't really pay attention to the runner. But it was a situation to where, in baseball, sometimes the runner, as a hitter, you're trained, if you see the runner get such a huge jump that there's no way that the catcher can throw him out, then you're trained to not swing at that pitch to make sure that you get the second base stolen. Okay, and that's exactly what the Cardinals did last night. But the problem with that was it put the hitter in a 1-2 hole. So I thought, even though the Cardinals stole that base, I thought the 1-2 count that put the hitter in actually gave the Dodgers the favor, and the Cardinals did not steal from that perspective. And the reason why they got such a big jump last night was the fact that they were using a cadence system. And a cadence system is, we had always trained at Guthrie High School that the initials are GHS. So you would have the kids, after the pitcher came set, you would have them count the cadence GHS, GHS as the pitcher was set, and whatever letter they would land on, if that pitcher landed on that same letter more than 3 times in a row, we felt like we had the cadence down of the pitcher, and then they would just jump on that cadence. So a pitcher comes set, G, H, S, G. If he's on the second G, if he does that 3 times in a row, on the second G, it was automatic that runner would steal second base on that second G, and if they get picked off, give the pitcher credit for changing their cadence. But a lot of times you'll find that pitchers fall into habits, even at the major league level, and they don't even realize their cadence has been similar. So I think, that's how the base got stolen last night for the Cardinals. But again, I think, in the long run, that actually favored the Dodgers because it made the count 1-2. Okay, Syndergaard, he went 5 innings last night, gave up 3 runs, 4 hits, 4 Ks, 1 walk. In the description or in the comments, leave me a comment. What do you think about Noah Syndergaard? 5th starter. Do you think the Dodgers, would you like to see the Dodgers give somebody else maybe a chance, to bring them up? Emmett Sheehan has been just absolutely unbelievable. You got William Cuevas at the AAA level. There's different guys out there. Nick Frasso, Kyle Hurt's been absolutely unbelievable. Nick Nastrini has been just simply ridiculous. As a matter of fact, the entire AA pitching staff, it's the best pitching staff in the minor leagues, and it's not even close. So, hey, what are your thoughts on Noah Syndergaard? Again, last night, 5 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits, 4 Ks, 1 walk. His advanced metrics were pretty close to what he always is. So I think last night it's pretty much, hey, I think there's going to be, some performances to where it's better than some that maybe are worse. But, hey, the 5 innings, 3 runs, are you good with that in the 5 spot? Leave me a comment about Noah Syndergaard, especially seeing all of the arm talent that this organization has, and especially, Bobby Miller is back. He's throwing really well as well. Ryan Pepio, it looks like, not going to be back for a while. Michael Grove is available. So what are your thoughts on that? Okay, Julio Urias is on the 15-day. Like we said, Grove on the taxi squad. All right, Dodgers pick up Ken Giles just to recover that aspect of it. Okay, Ken Giles, he was released last year. Let's get into some of his numbers. 2.71 career ERA in the major leagues. Like I said, hasn't thrown a lot since 2019. What are your thoughts on him? Leave a comment about Ken Giles. Okay, and then the last thing that I wanted to talk about, and I would like to hear some comments on what Dodgers fans think about this. Trace Thompson, let's get the elephant out of the room. 0 for his last 37. How long can you go with him? Okay, how long until, hey, this is, it's results based, okay? We talk about the process all the time. Hey, just trust the process and things will work themselves out. But the major leagues is a results based deal, man. I mean, you got to produce. The players know that. That's not, I'm not reinventing a wheel by making that statement. Okay, 0 for 37. We all love Trace. He had the good points of last year. As far as, you know, he had some moments that were very good. He got off to the really good start. We know that he's very good defensively. He's an elite human being. The Dodgers love the clubhouse culture he brings. 0 for his last 37, though. Okay, so how long do you stick with Trayce Thompson? Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about that situation. And what would you do, you know, if you do DFA Trayce Thompson? What do? Do you bring up, I mentioned it earlier, Jonny DeLuca, who's hitting 285 OPS, all right, 957. And the thing about him, he has 11 stolen bases and 10 home runs. So he brings you that speed plus power combination. A lot of excitement. He's a local boy. He's from the LA area. So, hey, what do you do about the Trayce Thompson scenario? Okay, so again, the Dodgers, they play the St. Louis Cardinals today to wrap up that series. And then next up, it's Atlanta and Tampa Bay on the road for this 10-game road trip. So, boy, a tough stretch. The Dodgers really need to win today. Excited about that game. So that concludes our LA Dodger talk. Time now to move to the minor leagues. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it. Let's take a trip down on the farm. Well, it was an exciting finish in downtown Oklahoma City last night. Watch this play. Ryan Ward comes home. The catcher misses the tag. He hits home plate. The catcher doesn't hit him, doesn't tag him until after he touched home plate, and yet he gets called out. And I say that, you know, hey, we don't have the greatest of angles there. We don't have a close-up of it. But I'll tell you what, you know, it's kind of like whenever a first baseman pulls his foot, you can always tell when they go back to try to tag the runner. When the catcher went back to tag Wardo, that tells me the catcher knows that he didn't tag Ryan, and because of that, he went back to re-tag him. And I think it's pretty clear on the re-tag that Wardo touched home plate before he got tagged by the catcher. Okay, so, you know, last night excited. This was the bottom of the 11th inning. Right here, you're going to see it again. Does he touch home plate? Yes, obviously he touches home plate before the catcher tags him. I think that's very, very, very clear. So that was bottom of the 11th. That was a 4-3 game. That made, you know, instead of it being tied 4-4 with a runner at first base and just one out, now you're down 4-3, 2 outs, a runner on first base, and eventually the Oklahoma City Dodgers lost last night. They scored 2 in the first, and they only scored 1 more, and that was in the 10th whenever, you know, they start the runner at second base. That runner came around to score. So, hey, it wasn't a great night offensively in front of a big crowd at Bricktown Ballpark, downtown Oklahoma City. Almost 8,000 people there last night, 7,851 after a Friday night where there were over 8,000 people in downtown Oklahoma City. So good crowd so far for the weekend series against the Space Cowboys. But hey, the Oklahoma City Dodgers, they dropped last night, but boy, they have had a great year, 32-12 on the year so far. Well, here is that same young man, Ryan Wardo. He had a heck of a night last night for AAA Oklahoma City. He had 2 hits and a sweet play in left field that you're getting ready to see here in just a minute. You know, Wardo has played mostly first base this year. Here it comes. Watch this. Watch him lay out. Sweet catch, Wardo. That a boy. But he's played mostly first base this year, although left field has been his home in the Dodgers organization. Until this year, they've tried to create versatility with him. You know, the more versatile a player is, the easier it is to get him on a major league roster, just for the simple fact that, you know, you're not just pigeonholed into one position. And then Wardo right there, love that base hit right back up the box and into center field. 2 hits last night for Wardo, a sweet catch. So, attaboy, the young man out of Millbury, Massachusetts. Here's a field level view of 6'8" Brian Hudson, and I like to take video of him as much as I can just so you can get a perspective. You know, he's only 91, 92, but it's a lot faster than that as far as the way it looks to a hitter, because he gets down the mound so much. When he's releasing it, you know, he's at what, 55, 56 feet? You know, so that extension makes it look a lot faster to hitters. And you can see right here, they're late. That's 2 swings in a row. We're on a 91, 92 mile-an-hour fastball. The hitter is late. So Brian Hudson, you know, very intriguing with the long size, the great extension, and so far his numbers at the AAA level with Oklahoma City this year have been fantastic. His ERA is down to 1.80, and coming into last night's performance, you know, they don't update the numbers, you know, in real time on the minor league stat. You got to wait till the game's over to get the updated stats for the performance for that night. So that's a little bit frustrating. They actually do update the numbers in real time on the major league site, just not on the minor league side. So coming into last night, his whip was just 115. His average against was just 167, and he'd allowed just 1 run in his last 10 out of 11 outings. So, hey, Brian Hudson, man, he's done really well for AAA Oklahoma City. So here's Nick Robertson, and I tell you what, man, this young man at some point this year has deserved a promotion. Knock on wood, hope I didn't jinx him. But the Pro Duke, the young man out of James Madison, has been absolutely fantastic. He went scoreless. Well, he didn't go scoreless last night. Actually, he gave up and earned an unearned run, I should say. He struck out 2, and he has not allowed a run in his last, an earned run, I should say, in his last 11 outings, and he has 29 strikeouts and 20.2 innings. So, hey, the young man out of, he went to James Madison. Nick Robertson, keep up the great work. The AA Tulsa Drillers scored 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and they made that hold up behind good pitching. This is Nick Nastrini you're seeing on the screen here. Nastrini went 4 2/3 innings, gave up just 3 hits and 1 run, and had 5 strikeouts on the inning. John Rooney, Braden Fisher, Trevor Betancourt, Jake Pilarski, and Jordan Leasure. Pilarski and Leasure actually teamed up to finish the 9th inning to get a save last night. So, hey, the Tulsa Drillers, they won 4-3 last night. Offensively, Yorbit Vivas, we're going to talk about him here in a minute. And Manuel Vargas, Yusniel Diaz, Eddie's Leonard, and Diego Cartaya, they each had 1 hit apiece for the offense that scored 4 runs, and it was good enough to beat the Corpus Christi Hooks 4-3. Tulsa now, they go to 24-14 on the season. Who you're seeing on the screen right here is Nick Nastrini, and not only was he good, hey, the good thing about what happened to him last night was he got stretched out to 83 pitches, and it was kind of probably frustrating for him. He got pulled with 4 2/3 innings, which means he was just 1 out away from getting the win. Look at that big breaking ball. But hey, pitch counts, 83 pitches, that's a lot for this time of the year, and the Dodgers are very, very, very careful with their arms, and so definitely a pitch count situation last night for Nick Nastrini, who pitched very, very well with that breaking ball especially. Nastrini has an average against this month of just 152, a whip of just 0.85, and an ERA of just 2.08. So Nick Nastrini, the young man out of UCLA, pitching very well for AA Tulsa. Braden Fisher is from League City, Texas. He was in Corpus Christi, Texas last night, which is about 3.5 hours south and west of League City. So don't you know he had a big posse that came down and watched him last night, at least for the weekend, and he put on a show last night. He was very, very good. He went 1 inning scoreless. He struck out 2 out of the 3 batters that he faced, and Fisher's ERA, well, coming into last night, again, they don't update the numbers in real time on the minor league sites, but coming into last night, his ERA was 165. His whip was 80, a 0.80, and that's all going to go down for Braden Fisher. So the young man out of League City, Texas, just keeps on keeping on, dominating AA. Jake Pilarski and Jordan Leasure teamed up to throw a lot of gas. As a matter of fact, Pilarski actually hit a guy in the helmet with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, then dropped in a slider the next pitch. He was fine. The hitter was fine last night. It was a scary moment, but he popped right back up. It kind of was a glancing blow, and he went right to first base, so everybody was fine after that hit by pitch. And then him and Pilarski and Leasure teamed up after that to go ahead and get the save last night, a teamed-up save for the AA Tulsa Drillers. Pilarski was hitting 99. Leasure was hitting 98. So that was a lot of gas and a lot of fun to watch for the AA Tulsa Drillers. The High A Great Lakes Loons, they got blanked yesterday, 6-0. It was not a good night offensively for them, although Austin Gauthier, who you're seeing on the screen right here, went 2 for 4 and has his average up to 371, so he has been absolutely fantastic this year. Austin Gauthier has. Dalton Rushing also had a hit, and Damon Keith had 2 hits as well. Griffin Lockwood Powell had a hit. So, hey, it wasn't a total blank on the day for the Great Lakes Loons as far as individual hitters, because Damon Keith, again, had a multi-hit day. So did Austin Gothier, but it was a blank on the scoreboard. The Loons now move to 24-14. Jermaine Rosario started yesterday. It was a rough start for him. You know, Rosario is one of those guys that, hey, one outing he's liable to go 5 innings and not give up anything. Then the next outing he's liable to go a little sideways on him yesterday. Yesterday was a sideways performance. He went 1 2/3 innings, gave up 5 runs. Jack Dreyer, Franklin De La Paz, Reynaldo De Paula, and Juan Murillo, they came in and pitched very well, and between the 4 only gave up 1 earned run on the day. That was given up by Reynaldo De Paula. So hey, it was a, you know, one of those games to where Saturday afternoon you had some good individual performances, but a little bit flat for the Great Lakes Loons, and they dropped their game 6-0 to move to 24-14 on the season. Dalton Rushing hit his 8th double this season yesterday for the Loons. Rushing leads the Midwest League in home runs at 7, is tied for second in RBIs at 23, is second in walks with 35, and is third in OPS at 976. So, hey, Dalton Rushing, if you wanted an update on him, he's doing just fine. Haven't covered left-hander Franklin De La Paz a whole lot on Dodgers Daily this year, so I wanted to show you a video of him. He went 2 scoreless yesterday for Great Lakes. He had 3 Ks, kind of that sidewinding type left-handed deal. Lots of energy, lots of fun to watch. You know, he crossfires. So if you watch that land foot, okay, it lands way over towards first base, and then he crossfires across his body to get the ball inside. Sometimes that makes it very difficult. It gets a lot of horizontal break, that does, you know, kind of gets that frisbee look to it. Then it just kind of seems like, especially if you're lefty, it's going to seem like to them the ball is being released from behind their back, and it's hard to stay on, and it's hard to pick up. So, you know, that crossfire is very effective as far as, look at that, the left-handed hitter just kind of bails out on that and, you know, just doesn't stay on it real well. So it's hard to pick up. It's very deceptive. It's also sometimes hard to control. So when Franklin De La Paz is in the strike zone, he's typically speaking very good. So he went 2 scoreless yesterday for Great Lakes. He had 3 strikeouts, and De La Paz has given up 1 or less runs in 5 of the 7 outings so far this year in 2023. He didn't pitch last year due to injury in 2022, so he is just getting back and just kind of building that pitch count back up, getting all the fields back, and getting back to the way that he's always released the ball in the past. Franklin De La Paz. Juan Murillo is a young man that has a big fastball, and he is very good, very talented. A young man that pitches with a lot of energy. I never miss a chance to watch Murillo pitch. I'm very impressed with him. He has that breaking ball that falls off the table. He has a fastball. There's a good little changeup right there that had a little arm side run to it. So he has the changeup that has the fade to it. He has a breaking ball that falls off the table. That is very good as well. And he has a good fastball that he can hit right there, as you can see, 96 with. So Franklin De La Paz, Juan Murillo. We've already talked about De La Paz. Juan Murillo, a young man that I never miss an opportunity to watch when he pitches. Damon Keith had another multi-hit day, which is his 3rd multi-hit game in his last 4 that he's played in. He also has hits in 9 of 10 games, and he's been on base in 11 games in a row. Talked about it a couple times. It's been a slow start for Damon Keith. Look at that swing, though. That is just a beautiful swing. You tell me, watch that swing and tell me what you think about Damon Keith and his offensive ability. And he's a big guy, great attitude, wonderful young man, typical Dodgers culture guy, and he's able to stay inside the ball like that with power. So Damon Keith, the young man out of Cal Baptist, I love his hit tool, and he's getting hot for the Loons. Funnest part of the day yesterday for me was the Rancho Cucamonga game. It was a fun game. It was 5-3, and I love that Visalia. They have a neat facility, and the sound effects and just the game day production they put on, it's very good. And then the game was entertaining. Chrisnewell, you're seeing on the screen right here, he is just a fantastic player out of Virginia. Man, he has that opposite field power. You saw it right there. Watch this. That's power right here, dead left center. He just center to left center a little bit. He has so much power to the middle part of the field, and if you follow Dodgers Daily much, you know I love hitters that use the middle of the field. And look at that power right down the left field line, because that middle of the field is the biggest part of the field. And, just from an odds perspective, that's where all your hits are at. So a guy like Chrisnewell that can stay middle like that, I just love hitters because they're going to have the ability to both hit for average and power. And then when you have the speed that Chrisnewell has, he was an elite base stealer at Virginia. Kind of like that Jonny DeLuca type deal. He's going to be able to hit a lot of home runs. He's going to be able to steal a lot of bases, and he's going to be able to impact games in many, many different ways. And he impacted last night. The Quakes, as a matter of fact, won 5-3, thanks in large part to the 2 home runs from Chrisnewell last night. Offensively, Raynedoncon also hit his 7th home run of the year. We're going to see here in a minute. He is tied for 3rd in the Cal League in home runs. And then Thayronliranzo, he had a big night last night. I'm going to give you a little teaser there. I'm not going to spoil any more of that because we're going to show some videos of him, and he was really, really good for a Fuerte had a hit as well. Peyton Martin had to start last night. He gave up 2 runs in 3 innings. The young man out of Clemens, North Carolina, who was picked in the 17th round, which is a joke because he is way better than that last year out of high school. Christian Romero threw really well last night. We're going to see video of Romero, Christian Romero, lucaswepf, and Madisonjeffrey, all of them. So, hey, sit tight. We're going to cover all the video, the excitement, and all the exciting action from last night's game at Rancho, not at Rancho Cucamonga, but the Rancho Cucamonga game. So you just saw a video of Chrisnewell. As a matter of fact, his home runs last night, we saw were opposite field. He's hitting now. Chrisnewell has 291 OPS, 1041, and he has a hit streak of 9 games in a row and is 6 for his last 14. And last night was his 2nd multi-hit home run game of his last 3. Talking about Chrisnewell. Moving now to Thayronliranzo. Boy, you talk about a big talent, both offensively and defensively. Put this guy on your radar. Watch this. Boom. That is quite a throw. That's Raynedoncon receiving that throw. Kenneth Betancourt, you see on your right there, playing second base. But Thayronliranzo, man, this young man has big talent. So put him on your radar. And look at that swing right there. Kind of that Juan Soto type flat swing from the left side. I love the way he swings the bat. I love the way he throws down. Wonderful young man as well. So Thayronliranzo, big talent. And you get to see it right here. Look at that. You can't jam him. You can't go away because he stays inside the ball. Just very smooth. Kind of maybe a Robinson Cano type swing. You know, just very smooth. Never looks like he's trying real hard. Very frustrating. Here's his throw down to second base. Again, very good throw. Last night he had 2 hits. Was on base 3 times. And just absolutely, as you just saw, hosed a runner trying to steal. Liranzo has hits in 7 of his last 8. And has 5 multi-hit games just this month. So big, big talent, Thayronliranzo. Speaking of Raynedoncon, he hit his 7th home run of the season. You talk about easy power, man. He was maybe 50% as far as that swing goes, and it just goes way out into the California night there in Visalia. That's why he already has 7 home runs, and he's 4th in the Cal League in home runs, which is saying something because the Cal League is a very offensive league. Doncon has what I call easy power. He doesn't have to try very hard to hit the ball out of the yard, which will allow him to also be consistent as well. So Raynedoncon, again, hit his 7th home run of the season last night, 4th best in the Cal League. So to the pitching, here is Christian Romero. He turned into a good outing last night for Rancho Cucamonga. He went 3.1 innings. He gave up just 1, and he had 3 strikeouts. Romero has gone scoreless in 6 of his last 7 outings. So he did a good job last night at Visalia, shutting them down. Good little tight slider right there. And their audio levels at Visalia. One announcer is very loud and the other is quiet, so you're always having to turn it up and down. So I'll do that for you right there to make sure it's not bleeding out over the top of anything I'm saying right here. But Christian Romero getting a good look at him. Again, last night, 3.1. Gave up just 3 strikeouts. Has the good slider right there. Good little tight slider and a good fastball. lucaswepf went 1.2 innings. This is a young man out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, who is already a little bit older. So I talked about last time we talked about him. Probably going to be on the fast track as long as he keeps having success, something he is doing. He was really turning a corner this month, as a matter of fact. His last 4 outings, okay, he has not given up a run. He has struck out 10 and walked just 1. So lucaswepf, I think, going to be on the fast track. I'll be interested to see how long it takes. Like I said, as long as he keeps pitching well, for him to get moved to Great Lakes. Boy, it was great to see Madisonjeffrey last night in true form because I'll tell you what, he struggles throwing strikes from time to time, but when he is in the strike zone, look at the depth on that slider, the confidence. The fastball can reach 100 plus, and when he is on and throwing strikes, forget about it. It's going to be a bad night for the hitters. And we saw that last night. Look at that breaking ball. That is just absolutely insane. Madison Jeffrey is very, very, very talented. Got to master the strike zone, though. It does not matter how good your stuff is. If it's not in the strike zone, you know, it's not going to be effective. And Madison knows that as well as anybody else. And last night was terrific for him. Okay, as you can see right here, he picked up save number 5. So well done, Madison Jeffrey. Keep up the work that you did last night. Let's make some duplicates of that. And let's keep putting performances like that back to back. And let's get after it. So there you have it. I told you it was a busy day again. You know, you always want that win at the top with Los Angeles. But, hey, like I said earlier, you didn't get the win, but I think you do have to be pleased with the grit. And, of course, like I said, it's a results-based league. I get that. But when you're playing a 162-game season, sometimes, you know, you do need to look at some of the orbiting factors like the grit, the toughness, the fight that the team showed last night. And then also, you know, the fact that you got – you know, the game ended on a call that was just simply put wrong, that as soon as you get a replay system in place, won't happen ever again because that pitch was not a strike to Mookie Betts. So although you did lose, I think there were some things to be happy about as a Dodgers fan in that game. And then Oklahoma City, it was frustrating because your two top, you know, as far as your 5 teams, the 4 affiliates, and then LA, the 2 top teams, the AAA level and the Major League level, both kind of got hosed there towards the end. You know, Wardo was safe at home plate, in my opinion, and then the pitch to Betts. So that was frustrating. And so yesterday, a little bit of a frustrating day throughout the organization. But, hey, one of the great things about baseball is that you get to wake up the next day and you get to do it all again. So, hey, I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope you tune into tomorrow's show as well. And just one last reminder before we get out of here. If you'd like to help Dodgers Daily by donating, we do now have a GoFundMe account. Scroll down into the description, okay, and click that link. It'll take you right to the Dodgers Daily GoFundMe. And then also, we have a Patreon page. Just search Patreon. Once you get to Patreon, look for Dodgers Daily and become a member. We have different tiers that you can become members at the Patreon page for Dodgers Daily. And also, and if you like this video, if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, share this video, and become a member. And after you're a member, click that notification bell, turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you won't miss a thing. Dodgers Daily can keep growing, and we can keep doing what we love, which is providing content like this in the future. As always, I want to thank you for tuning in, and go Dodgers!